because you kept carping. You can't send the Marines, Dion. National Guard's okay. But the Marines, they're not fit to write parking tickets. Oh, okay, well, that makes sense.
I mean, Epstein is literally worse than any monster. And listen. I am an avid reader. I've read thousands of books. I happen to like horror, I like sci-fi. I did a lot of fantasy. And it's some monsters in fantasy. Fantasy had the best monsters. Because in sci-fi, the monsters had to use technology, so you're not really a monster. You're more like a villain with tech. And, you know, that's sci-fi. But monsters, those are fantasy monsters. Those are ghouls that crawl out from underneath your bed. When you think about Penny from, oh God, Pennywise from Stephen King, when you think about dragons, when you think about monsters, you're talking about fantasy. But none are as horrifying as Jeffrey Epstein. This monster, SA, over 1,000 children. That is a sickening number. That's like, what kind of monster? Listen, here's a way to do it, right? You can compare him to Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer was a monster. Would you agree with that, Dion? Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer was indeed a monster, without question. So I think he's a fair person to compare him to, because you can say, well, how could he be worse than Jeffrey Dahmer? So here's how I say he's worse than Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer was the kind of monster that was a sicko in books. He murdered people. He ate them. He kept them in his refrigerator. He was sick. He killed over 17 people. He killed at least 17 people. By the way, this is for educational entertainment purposes only. Disclaimer. He killed at least 17 people. That is some sort of monster. But Jeffrey Epstein accosted over 1,000 children. Over 1,000. And while he was doing this, Donald Trump was his best friend. They was going out, they was hanging out, they was getting on each other's planes, they was traveling places, they was all over Scarlaws, they on the jacket. Hey, what's going on, Jeff? And yeah, I want to go. He was getting accused of getting sued for touching little girls. I'm talking about Trump, not Epstein. But it was at Epstein's house, if that matters. He was friends with Ghislaine. They would go all hang out together. There's even a rumor that he met his wife, his third wife, the one he's married to now, through Epstein. That means that Epstein had her as one of his little girls running around. They were assaulting over 1,000 little girls in a 10-year span. Just for calculation purposes, if there's 365 days in the year and it was over 1,000 girls, that means every 3 or 4 days there was a new girl. That's crazy. And Ghislaine would go hunting for them for him. He would bring the girls back. She would bring the girls back. She would pull them right out of Trump Plaza. Not Trump Plaza, my apologies. Don't want to get it wrong. Right out of Trump's Mar-a-Lago. She would go recruiting him at Trump's crib. Like Virginia Dufresne, who was accosted there. And what did Donald Trump say about it? Donald Trump's like, yeah, well, me and him stopped talking because he was taking my little girls from me. I'm sorry, he didn't say my little girls. He said the little girls. He said my little girls. I think he did say, I don't remember. He did so many crazy, absurd horrific, terrible things that I can't keep track anymore. And that was his big reason for breaking up with Jeffrey Epstein. I'm sorry, stop talking to Jeffrey Epstein. And meanwhile, after Virginia Giuffre, who was taken from him, and it was his excuse for stopping his communications with Jeffrey, I believe he said, I said, get out of here. And he was gone. Get him out of here. That was his thing. Meanwhile, years later, he's writing them birthday cards saying unbelievable things like, oh God, what did he say? He said, oh, help me out. You don't know. You don't pay attention to Trump unless he's saying something crazy. Well, this was crazy. He said, oh man, not mysteries, enigmas never die. No, what? Enigmas never age. Like, yo, what grown man calls another grown man an enigma? He said, may we always keep our wonderful secrets.
Oh God.
He said that. He wrote that that's part of the letter. And he did it in a frame of a naked woman. And then John Hancocked his name to make it look like pubic hairs. And this was released by the New York Times. Was it? Yeah, the New York Times. And he threatened to sue the dude who owns New York Times, some dude named Rupert. Who also owns, Rupert Murdoch also owns Fox News. Oof.
Okay.
Was it? It wasn't the Times. It was the Wall Street Journal. It was the Wall Street Journal, not the New York Times. I stand corrected. Thank you. Thank you very much. So the Wall Street Journal and Fox. So Wall Street Journal published this. Him and Rupert Murdoch had apparently been quite close at some point, not buddies like him and Epstein, obviously, but they was cool. And so eventually, under Trump's watch, I covered this in a previous episode, in a couple of previous episodes, but under Trump's watch, Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in 2019. He was being tried, but before he could speak, he killed himself. Or so that's what the media reported. But then a tape was released with a minute missing of his cell. And it sparked quite a great interest. How is there a minute missing? Why is there a minute missing? Meanwhile, Trump has been, while the entire time Biden was in office, Trump was saying Epstein was with Bill Clinton and this and that, and they're all guilty, and we need to get back in office, and we need to figure out who's behind this Epstein stuff. We need to get these evil blue Democrats. And then he gets back in office. And his Department of Justice is like, yeah, we're going to release the Epstein files. Matter of fact, I got them sitting on my desk. I'm going to release them. And people was excited. And it was like, nah, we're not going to release them. And people started getting upset. Like, what are you talking about? You just said they were sitting on your desk. Which they were. Because under Trump's first administration, the Department of Justice, under a man named William Barr, tried Jeffrey Epstein. What happens when you do a trial, right? You compile a large number of everything you can find on notes. You build a case. The feds, they don't play around. They build a case. You heard? Like, yo, if you go into court and you fighting the state attorney, you stand a chance. The feds build cases. So they had, 100,000 pages worth of stuff on them and video and retarded amounts of stuff on them. Like, they had all the goods. They've been building a case on him for a while. Heck, after he died, they sentenced his girlfriend to 20 years in prison because they had the evidence. So all of this going by, right? So we're going through all this Epstein stuff. And so they're like, yo, what's going on with this minute that's missing? And they released it after they released the tape to the public, and Pam Bonder's like, all right. So she brings a bunch of influencers on, right-wing influencers, and they start holding up behind this. See, we got the Epstein files. And it comes out that there's nothing in there that wasn't on the internet already. This pissed off a lot of people. Now it's like, I'm sorry, what was that?
In the MAGA realm, especially. This pissed off a lot of people.
In the MAGA realm, absolutely. The people that wanted him in office for him to keep his promise to get Bill Clinton, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. Now time moves forward, and they want to talk to Ghislaine Maxwell because Ghislaine Maxwell knows the secrets. Let's rewind. A few years ago, Donald Trump was being brought up on charges. Felony counts of stealing, for the most part. He got some civil suits for some SA, because obviously that's what he does. And that's been proven in the court of law. He himself has said, I'll grab women by the private areas and they won't do nothing because I got money. I can kiss them. I can do what I want.
In Fifth Avenue.
He says he can just do the SA girls. And they voted him in, so I guess he can. It's a fact. He can. He said he can do these things and he got voted in office. He can do these things, obviously. But while he was on trial for these felonies, he had an attorney by the name of Todd Blanche who failed him miserably. He got 34 counts of felonies. But when he got into office, he felt that Todd Blanche did a good enough job that he gave him the second highest position in the land, second in command of the Department of Justice. He must have done a really good job getting him 34 counts to get that job. Let me tell you, if it had been me, I'd have given him a Donald Trump line. You're fired. But I digress. So the same attorney who's now second in command of the Department of Justice is sent to have a meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell. Let me reverse again. I forgot something. So the Congress was trying to push having Ghislaine testify to them. They also wanted the files. It got so bad that the Speaker of the House, under so much pressure to get those files subpoenaed, put a halt to everything. It was like, all right, we're going on break. We're not going to talk about these Epstein files no more. We done. Everybody's on break. But the Democrats, they said they outmaneuvered Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, by having one of their committees subpoena those records, subpoena Ghislaine Maxwell and the Epstein files before the break. So even though Mike Johnson tried to stop it, it was not enough. So now Ghislaine's got to go talk to Congress. 2 or 3 days later, Donald Trump sends in Todd Blanche, his old failed attorney, to go have a conversation with her. She gets queen for the day. By the way, this is for education and entertainment purposes only. She gets something called a proffer agreement, which is the queen for the day. Proffer agreement means, don't worry about it. No matter what you say, we can't use it against you later in court. So you can spill all the beans. Somehow, to everyone's shock, she said Donald Trump didn't do anything. 2 days later, she went from the prison that she was into a prison that was not meant to house SA people that commit SA. She ended up there, but she wasn't supposed to be there. It's against the rules. Somebody signed a special agreement for her to go there. And the prison people are upset because they're not meant to deal with people like that. 3 days after that, Trump sends troops into Washington, takes over the Washington police. The day after he takes over Washington, Ghislaine Maxwell, something that's not being reported on the mainstream media, she doesn't get the pardon she's seeking yet. She doesn't get the reduced sentence she's looking for yet. But she's able to get something called work release. So now it's on the table for her to have work release and just go around in the community next to a college campus that actually deals with the prison on a very frequent basis, because what they do is rehabilitation programs. Since these are non-violent criminals, the college has an agreement with the prison to work for the college kids, to work with the prisoners, to rehabilitate them and bring them back into society. Because at this camp, as they call it, these are nonviolent criminals. Ghislaine Maxwell, the day after Washington, everybody's talking about Washington, D.C. being taken over by a hostile presence, I mean Donald Trump. Ghislaine Maxwell is now able to go, is set to go on work release on a college campus in a college town next to your kids. So this is the history that led us here. I just thought I'd do a quick recap. That wasn't quick, but necessary for anybody who needed a refresher on how evil Epstein is and how sick it is that Donald Trump is protecting him.
Well,
Protecting
there's something
Ghislaine,
else
rather.
that I would like to add on that you may not be aware of. Remember when you said that William Barr actually was over the Epstein files before the new administration came in when he was the Attorney General?
The fact that he said that Trump's not involved.
And yeah, you forgot to mention that part because you remember she said that Trump wasn't involved when they let her yabba yabba yabba. But you forgot to go back to when William Barr said, "Yes, I oversaw the Epstein's files," and it looks like Donald Trump had nothing to do with it all as well. So back then, William Barr knew this. She was at liberty to say he's not with it as well. So it looks like you have two people that really don't have much to skin in the game to say, "Hey, Donald Trump is not involved." So.
Two people that don't have much skin in the game. Ghislaine Maxwell, who's trying to get the pardon, and William Barr, whom would have known everything that was going on with Epstein, and he's culpable. If Donald Trump goes down, he goes down too. These are the two people that have no skin in the game.
Barr, keep in mind, the Democrats had this for 4 years. If they wanted to use it to take down Trump, they would have. Don't you think?
I don't think. No, here's what I think. I think that only MAGA people worried about the retarded things that was coming out of Trump's mouth. Because regular people had regular things to worry about. We worried about putting food on the table, raising our kids, trying to figure out college.
Boys can be girls and girls can be boys, and making sure
that's not me. You're not
describing me. Can happen as soon as I have my period at 10 years old. All right, yeah, that's what you guys care about: abortion, abortion, and gender affirming care for all.
That, first of all, no, that's not what I care about. You're speaking for me.
Why are you going to label, why you more blanket MAGA people as all these people that have all these
I said y'all were the ones listening to Trump. Is that not correct? That's all I said. I said you, MAGA people, were the ones listening to Trump. Am I incorrect? That's all I said. Now you're saying that you painted a bad picture of me because I said MAGA people listen to Trump. So now I want to know, what did I say that was wrong?
Well, I just like the way you said it. But then again, people like you that are Democrats, your priorities are.
I'm not a Democrat.
You're not a Democrat anymore. What happened?
I've never been a Democrat. Oh, I was a Democrat in the 90s.
Yeah, here we go.
In the early 90s.
I'm an independent now to be cool because Democrats aren't cool right now.
No, actually, Democrats are cooler than Republicans, but I haven't been a Democrat in decades. So I guess with that aside, we're back to this Epstein situation. We did not pay attention to all of the things that was coming out of Trump's mouth. But the MAGA people did. And he built up this incredible thing where people wanted to see these Epstein files. He and his people built that up. Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, and so many more. The people that he surrounded himself with built up these Epstein files. That's what happened. People that listened to Trump kept hearing about these Epstein files. So now that Trump's in power, they're like, why are you not releasing them? It's almost like you're lying. Then, yes, two people very close to the case, the person that actually committed the crimes with Epstein, and the person that would have been responsible for covering up anything that happened to Epstein, said, nah, Trump ain't had nothing to do with it because they have nothing to hide. Because that's the story, right? In the interim, it is a well-known fact that Donald Trump, since we're mentioning things that I forgot, Donald Trump sent in 1,000 FBI agents to erase his name off of all of the Epstein files. Why would he? What is it he has to hide? What is a man that can openly say, I grab women by the private areas and I kiss them, and they can't do nothing about it, or they don't do nothing about it because I got money? Somebody who could say stuff like that and get elected, what could he possibly have in these files that would be so much worse that he's scared of it? And as the Honorable Dion mentioned, the party's divided over this. But Dion is not like them. He just doesn't believe his name's in the files. He doesn't think the Epstein files are that important. Am I incorrect?
Right now, with the president about to try to broker some global peace deals, not really a high priority right now, other than that, him and getting his Nobel Peace Prize that he deserves.
We're going to get into these negotiations later, because if the Epstein files was his biggest problem and he could have brokered this deal a long time ago, for him to be doing it right now after sending troops into Washington appears to me to be a distraction, especially when he did all of that and walked away with nothing and promised to do nothing that he said he was going to do before the meeting. Seems like he was just blowing smoke to me. But I don't want to get too deep into that now. We do need to discuss that. Matter of fact, let's make that our next hot take. Do you have any other things you want to talk about on this Epstein situation?
Yes. I'll end by saying we have bigger fish to fry than Epstein for now. Doesn't mean that we will come back to it, but there are bigger fish to fry for now. And he hasn't completed a year yet. So we're just breaking towards 8 months. So stay tuned. Let's put the Epstein files in the back burner.
One last thing. Alex Acosta was the attorney for Jeffrey Epstein in 2007. Oh, by the way, if you are enjoying the content, like, share, subscribe, join the critical thinking community where we bring our heads together. Even though Dion's been a little quiet, I guess I'm hogging the spotlight a little bit. The dude is actually brilliant. I got to hog the spotlight a little bit less and let him shine a little bit more, especially being he has quite a few fans here.
I
But
try
I
to talk
digress.
about things that I know about and passionate about. Epstein right now is not something of passion, but if it was used against Donald Trump effectively, like the other stuff they threw at him, maybe I have more to say. But so far, it's starting to fizzle out.
Yes, his distractions seem to be working,
Well, the
except
mainstream
for,
media is not putting it on loop for some reason. You gotta blame them, the legacy media, once again, because remember, they have to redo their tactics. Stephen Colbert is going down, Howard Stern is going down, Joy Reid is gone, and The View is going down. All these ratings for these things, they have to rethink their whole marketing research strategy when it comes to the president of the United States. Because people aren't watching them. So obviously Epstein didn't work. They got to find the next thing to keep the eyeballs there. Understand?
Epstein is going to, he appears to be culpable with Jeffrey Epstein. I don't think that's something that I'm going to be willing to let go until the files come out. I mean, in 2007, this man was convicted. He made some kind of crazy deal. He got the same deal Ghislaine Maxwell has, as a matter of fact, now, where he can get out of prison and work at least 12 hours a day. And he signed a deal that none of the people that was that could be convicted with him. His deal made it so that there were no co-conspirators. There were 3 named, and the co-conspirators could not be charged. He made some kind of crazy deal. It is insane.